Welcome back, everybody, to 3 Point Lines here on the Parlay. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, alongside my co host, Michael Singh, who's going to act as a special guest for today's show. As we got a lot of games to get to, and there's been a lot of trades that have been breaking down as we've been preparing for this show and as we're going to be doing this show. So yeah, let's just dive into it, man. Let's get into the slate of games. Busy Tuesday in the NBA. Couple days left before the NBA trade deadline, and we're gonna start with Phoenix taking on Philly. Philly, a slight favorite at home, -1. Who do you like here?
I like the Phoenix Suns here, Luca. The Suns right now, they're the best team in the NBA. They're literally by record, they're the best team in the NBA, and they're also the hottest team in the NBA. They've won 13 of their last 14 games. And just simply put, man, whenever you see the Phoenix Suns as an underdog, it's hard not to bet on the Suns, especially the way they're playing right now. This one's pretty much a pick 'em game, and I have to pick the Phoenix Suns. The way that Chris Paul's playing, he's playing almost like an MVP right now. 20 what he's playing, he's 36, 37 years old. This guy's playing like he's 25 again. So I got Phoenix tonight, Luca. How about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Phoenix as well. They've been a really good road team. They're 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 road games. And offensively, I think Devin Booker's gonna have another good night. He had 38 points against the Bulls last night, and I think Chris Paul is going to have his way in this game against a young guard like Tyrese Maxey. He's been playing phenomenally, like you said, MVP type player. That backcourt has been so good, especially in clutch moments, clutch situations. I do expect this game to be close. But I like the Suns whenever they're in these closely contested battles late in the game. And you look at the Sixers, Thybulle's going to be questionable. Milton's out. So if Thibault doesn't go, it's going to be a big loss for them. Whereas the Suns are only going to be missing Shaman and Payne. So I do like Phoenix in the spot.
Yeah, man. We'll see how this plays out, but like we said, like Phoenix underdogs, smash that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, next game. We got Boston taking on Brooklyn. Boston, a big favorite here on the road. Are you going to take it?
Tempting, very tempting, especially the way that the Boston Celtics have been playing. They've won 5 straight games. They're one of the hottest teams in the Eastern Conference. They're continuing to be pretty decent teams as well, but that's a big spread for me. And you factor in that James Harden is questionable for tonight's game. I know the Nets have lost their last 8, but if they get Harden back, Kyrie as well is going to, or it's in Brooklyn, so it won't even be Kyrie, actually. I'm just taking that in now.
Yeah,
I might have to
you
call
won't
an
be
audible
there.
here. And I'm gonna change up my pick. I'm taking Boston all the way. Like no Kyrie, great James Harden's questionable. Kevin Durant's out. Yeah, give me Boston. Forget everything I just said.
Yeah, I agree with you. Aldridge out, Claxton questionable, Durant, James Harden questionable, Millsap out, Irving out because this game's in Brooklyn. Yeah, I mean it is a big number. If you looked at this game and didn't do any research at all, you would quickly take the points with Brooklyn at home. I mean, you would think it's a no-brainer, but this is going to be a tough spot for the Nets, man. They continue to be on this downhill spiral, and even if Harden goes, Marcus Smart, I think, is going to do a good job on him. Harden, he won't have a lot of help there. There's a ton of guys out, a ton of depth on this team out for the Brooklyn Nets. So this is a team they're going to have to answer a lot of questions, I think, after losing a game like this. Celtics, they've won, 5 games in a row. They're on a bit of a heater, too. They got no injuries, so they're going to be coming to this game really healthy. So I will take the 7.5 points with Boston. I think they get it done.
Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn's continuously shown that without Kevin Durant, that they're not a serious threat. Even if they have both James Harden and Kyrie in the lineup, like this team isn't getting the job done. So I think unless Kevin Durant's back, I like Boston in this spot, especially at the way that Boston's playing. The Nets have failed to cover the spread in 9 of their last 10 games at home as well. A lot of that reason is because of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant being out at the Barclays Center. So take Boston, man.
All right, next game. We got another big spread. We got the Pacers taking on the Hawks. Hawks 10.5 point favorites.
Busy night in the association, eh? This one in general is interesting. Probably before we saw some massive trade news today, of course, with Sabonis and Justin Holiday and Jeremy Lamb heading to the Sacramento Kings. I would have been leaning Pacers just because the number is so big. But now I'm going Hawks all the way because you're going to be down those guys. Obviously, Miles Turner's still out. Brogdon's questionable to go. This could be a very depleted Pacers squad, and Atlanta's playing some really good basketball right now. They've covered the spread in 7 of their last 8 games at home. The Pacers, meanwhile, they've lost each of their last 13 games against Eastern Conference opponents. Trae Young's balling out. He's scored more than 30 points in each of the Hawks' last 3 games against the Pacers, so he likes playing against Indiana. And he's getting some supporting help from John Collins, who has scored more than 19 in 5 of the Hawks' last 6 games. So there's a lot to like about the way Atlanta is playing right now. And I think they'll continue to keep that going against the Pacers tonight, who are pretty miserable right now. So they need some changes, and some big changes are obviously on the way.
Yeah, massive trade. That's going to start a fire sale in Indiana, and we've seen that with Portland going on their own fire sale. So Indy, they're clearly rebuilding here. This is a team that's probably not going to win too many basketball games going down the stretch. They're 1-4 straight up in their last 5 road games, 6-21 overall away from the field house, and they're also 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games. This is a pretty bad basketball team right now, and it is a big spread. But the Hawks are 8-3 against the spread in their last 11, and they're 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 home games. And Nate McMillan, his crew, is 3-1 against the spread when they're favored by 10 or more points. So I think this is going to be a big night for the Hawks. I see them blowing out the Pacers at home.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. And Trae Young, another massive game. So if you like prop bets, Trae Young might be one to keep an eye on.
All right, sticking with the theme of teams making trades today, Houston taking on the Pelicans, as the Pelicans are welcoming in CJ McCollum. Obviously, he's not going to be playing tonight, but Pelicans are 9-point favorites for this matchup.
Yeah, that's a big number in my opinion. Houston has proven that they can at least keep games relatively close when they're on their game. Uh, Christian Wood, I mean, he likes playing against teams who he used to play for. I guess technically he used to play for the Pelicans, I believe. That might just be like a technicality, but he's tore it up against teams he used to play for. I think he scored more than 20 points in 10 straight games against teams he used to play for. Um, the Pelicans, they've won 7 of their last 8 games against teams that have held losing records, which is not a great sign for the Houston Rockets. But I do believe Houston will find a way to cover, as the road team has covered the spread in each of the Pelicans' last 7 games. This is a big number, as you mentioned. Christian Wood is he's Christian Wood. The Pelicans will be down some guys because of the trade. So we'll see kind of how this plays out overall, but I'm taking Houston to cover.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think there's way too many points. I mean, the Pelicans have been playing well. They won 3 in a row. They do find themselves in the play-in tournament, but Houston's one of those teams that they have shown that they can keep games like this close, make things interesting. I do think the Pelicans win, but 9 points is way too many. If Porter is, though, limited in any way for the Rockets, that will be an issue. He was going through some issues with a chest congestion on Friday, but if he's healthy to go for this one, I think Houston will have a chance to keep this one close. So I agree with you. I think the Rockets cover the 9 here, so I'll go Rockets plus 9.
Yeah, let's see. I wouldn't be surprised, man.
All right, we got Clippers taking on the Grizzlies. Another big spread here. Grizz at home, -8.
Memphis, Memphis, Memphis. I've learned this year that you don't bet against the Memphis Grizzlies, and there's good reason for that with the way that they're playing. The Grizzlies have won each of the last 10 games against teams that have held a losing record. They've covered the spread in 7 of their last 8 games as the home team. I mean, John Morant's been going off. He scored 30 plus points in 8 of the Grizzlies' last 9 games. He's guy's playing like an MVP, and the Grizzlies are playing some really good basketball as well. And they also have the Clippers number.
Yeah.
I think these two teams have met 3 times already this season, and Memphis has won all 3 games. Now, I know the Clippers are playing some decent basketball right now. They're surprising a few teams, turning a few heads. They made a trade um, as as buyers because they felt like they could find a way to contend this year, potentially with the return of Paul George and Kawhi later on in the season. But for this game in particular, I think you got to lean Memphis, even though the spread is fairly large.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like we've been agreeing on every pick. I have the Grizzlies here -8 as well. They're taking on a Clippers team that they've been really respectable this season, 10-7 against the spread as a road dog. So I wouldn't be surprised if they cover in this one. But Memphis, I mean, this is a team, Mike, that hasn't lost a game to a losing team since December 20th, and they haven't dropped a game against the spread against the losing team since December 29th. So this is a team that's taking care of its business, and they're going to be at home here. If this was on the road, I probably would have been reluctant to lay the points, but I think John Morant's going to have a big time game. And look, Norman Powell's already made an immediate impact with that team. You could tell he's gotten a fresh start. He feels good there. He's happier there. He had a big time performance and a blowout loss against the Bucks, but the Clippers did exactly that. They got blown out by the Bucks. So I think this is going to be another one of those tough games for the Clippers where they could make it interesting in the first half, but then I see Memphis pulling away in the second half en route to a double digit win.
And like I said, man, off the bat, there's no reason right now to bet against the Memphis Grizzlies. But yeah, let's move on here to our next game. Let me throw it at you first this time. Let's change it up. We got the Detroit Pistons taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Really big spread here, and that's probably no surprise based on the way that Detroit's been playing. You got -11. Who you got today, Luca?
Yeah, it's tempting to take Dallas. Cade Cunningham, I think will not be going tonight, so they're gonna be in tough without him. But I am gonna go with the Pistons. 11's too big of a number for me. The Mavericks have shown their reluctancy of covering these big spreads. This is a team that you never know which version of the Mavs you're gonna get. I mean, they look great at times, and then when they're supposed to beat up on bad opponents, they don't. And I think that's gonna be the case here. The Mavericks are just 2-4 against the spread as a double-digit favorite. And the Pistons, they have been very bad this season. We all know that, but they have been a respectable 12-10 against the spread in these big spread situations of at least double digits. So I'm gonna go with Detroit. I can see them having a backdoor recovery here where Dallas maybe is up late. They rest some guys, and then Detroit covers last second. So I will be taking the 11 points here with Detroit.
Yeah, I could definitely see why you'd be leaning that. I think this is the first time we're actually going to disagree, and it's for two reasons, two words: Luca Doncic. And this guy has turned a corner on his season. The Dallas Mavericks obviously have followed suit. Luca has now scored 30 plus points in each of the Mavericks' last four games as home favorites. The Pistons, they've lost their last 20 road games against Western Conference opponents that held a winning record. So it's tough right now to kind of lean Pistons, even though the spread is so big. And he's also getting a lot of help from his supporting cast. You talk about a guy like Jalen Brunson, who's stepped up massively and emerged as a real threat for this Dallas team. Porzingis is going to be out tonight, but then you have someone like a Dorian Finney-Smith who can always chip in as well. So the Mavericks have a little bit of depth there, and just the way that Luke is playing. I mean, this guy is a walking triple-double right now. And I believe the Dallas Mavericks will follow suit there, and they're 18-10 at home, and the Pistons are just really, really, really bad. So I believe that Dallas will find a way to cover that very large spread tonight. So at the first time we're disagreeing, Luca.
All right, yeah, we're due for one. Next game, we got the Knicks taking on the Nuggets. The Nuggets are 8-point favorites.
Denver, and that's simply because of well, they like playing the Knicks at home. First of all, Denver has won each of their last 13 home games against the Knicks. That's a very, very large number. That's not even a pattern anymore. That's just what it is. The Knicks are also coming off the second night of a back-to-back. They played last night. They weren't able to get the job done last night. And then you have the way that Jokic has been playing. And this guy is something else. He's recorded a triple-double in 5 of the Nuggets' last 7 home games. He, like Luka Doncic, he's tearing it up right now, and Denver's following suit. I don't know if many people expected Denver to be as competitive as they are because of the significant loss of Jamal Murray this year, but they've managed to maintain that, I guess, winning ways they've had the last couple of years because of Jokic, and guys like Will Barton and Aaron Gordon have also stepped up, and this will be the second time that these two teams are meeting. The Nuggets won 113-99 at MSG earlier this season, and they also like playing teams from the East. They've now won 5 straight games against the Eastern Conference, so I don't think this spread is too big. The Knicks they're decent, but they're not that great. So I'm taking Denver here to with the 8 points.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Knicks are one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Also, they're careless with the basketball, averaging like 15.3 turnovers per game. And this is a team that they tend to get into a bunch of foul trouble on the road. This is not a team that you want to go up against and get into early foul trouble. And the Knicks, I just feel like they are not going anywhere this season. Julius Randle, he doesn't seem happy there. Um, the Knicks could look good at times. They did in that comeback against the Lakers, but then they fell short in overtime. And you just don't know which team you're going to get. You don't know, which version of the Knicks are you going to get. They're so inconsistent. There's not enough to trust there. Kemba Walker, he needs to be back in order to resurrect some of this offense that has been missing there. There's been reports coming out now that Thibodeau never wanted to trade for Cam Reddish. People are scratching their head why he hasn't gotten any minutes since they traded for him. So New York's just a disaster right now, and Denver is going to be at home here. Nikola Jokic, he's playing in this one. He's been an absolute beast, triple double king. This guy does it all. And I think Jokic is going to have a big night, and Denver will blow up the Knicks here. And like you said, the Knicks are coming into this game on the second night of a back to back, and they didn't cover last night against the Jazz. So they're not going to cover tonight either.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm with you there. But moving on, let's take a look at the next game on the schedule tonight. A pretty interesting matchup, and we talked about a little bit about this a little bit today on Toronto today. But I think I already know your pick: Milwaukee versus the Lakers. Who you got?
Yeah, I got the Bucks. I think they're gonna walk all over the Lakers here. Milwaukee allows the second lowest points per game in transition, so that's not gonna bode well for the Lakers, who like to run it down the court. And the Bucks will also be able to neutralize the Lakers into becoming a jump shooting team. And LA cannot shoot for the life of them, especially Russell Westbrook, who's not been playing well. He got benched in overtime on Saturday. Who knows what his future's like? With the Lakers, is a deal gonna happen? Probably not, but this is not an LA team that is built to be good teams. Yeah, sure, they can look good against bad teams like they did against the Knicks, but when they take on teams like the Bucks, their flaws really show. And I think Milwaukee is going to be able to do a great job here on the glass. They're going to be able to beat the Lakers in the half court game, full court game. It doesn't matter. Giannis is going to have a big night. Middleton, Drew Holiday, the Bucks' big three is going to shine in LA, and this is going to be one of those games where you're just going to have LeBron looking upset at the end of it. So I will take Milwaukee here. I think this is a very good value. I mean, I expected them to be a bigger favorite on the road, but this is probably just people betting on the Lakers and seeing it as a good opportunity that they are a home dog, and LeBron is in all likelihood going to play, but Milwaukee's not going to. Milwaukee's going to come through here.
Yeah, both LeBron, Anthony Davis, and then as well Russell Westbrook will likely be in the lineup for the Lakers, which is probably why you have such a small spread here. But I'm with you, man. And if it's anything I learned from Toronto today is you can't bet against Luca when he's feeling this confident about a bet. I mean, Luca's tearing it up right now on our best bets over there. So again, like the Lakers are you just don't bet on the Lakers this year. That's all I can say. The Lakers have been really bad when we're trying to bet for the Lakers, and the way that Milwaukee is kind of turning a corner here and getting into form, I like. I'm with you there. I like Milwaukee.
All right, let's move on now. We got Minnesota taking on the Kings. Minnesota is a 5 point favorite on the road. Who do you got?
I got the T Wolves. They're favorites tonight, and the favorites have won each of the T Wolves' last 12 games. They've covered the spread in each of their last 4 games. They're 19-6 this season as the favorite, and they've also won 4 of their last 5 games. Like, I don't think this team is a bad team by any means. I mean, they're seventh right now in the Western Conference, so they're definitely not a bad team. And of course, on the other hand, here you're facing a Sacramento team that just made a big trade, and they've gutted really their backcourt with Tyrese and um,
Buddy
what's his
Hield.
face,
Buddy
Buddy
Hield,
Hield,
yeah.
yeah, going the other way. So I got Minnesota here to cover that 5 point spread.
Yeah, I agree with you. Timberwolves, I think, are gonna be able to take advantage of a shorthanded Kings team, and this line could even probably be increased by the by in a few hours from now. The Kings, they've been bad, 29th in the league in defensive rating, and this is a team that I don't know which direction they're taking. I mean, this is a lot of people are really questioning this move for them. They gutted their backcourt, like you said. You bring in Sabonis, who he's been solid, but is he really that guy that was worth giving away all these pieces for? And I'm just seeing the initial reactions on Twitter. A lot of Kings fans are upset at the direction of this franchise, and rightfully so. I mean, this has been a non-playoff team for so many years, longest playoff drought in the NBA. They haven't been relevant since the early 2000s, and there's a lot of frustration in Sacramento right now. I think Minnesota, they are a team that's turning it up, and this is a team that could potentially, get into the playoffs or be in the playoffs, stay there where they're at right now. And I really do like this team. I think Carl Anthony Towns, Ant, Russell, they've been gelling as their own little big three over there. So I do like Minnesota. I'm paying the small price here, -5. Give me the T Wolves.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards is also looking a lot better than he did when he started the year. This guy was jacking up shots for fun, but he's really settled down in his role, and there's a lot of talent on that T Wolves roster. Malik Beasley is like a really good depth piece as well. They have some depth in the front court. There's a lot to like about that T Wolves team, and it's about time that Karl Anthony Towns gets some love here, because this guy's one of the best big men in the NBA. He's one of the most talented big men in the NBA. If he can stay healthy, I like the T Wolves to make a deep run. But let's move on to our last game of the night. Like we said a couple times, such a busy night in the NBA, lots of basketball to watch. But we got Orlando and Portland, and it's pretty much a pick'em game, Luca. But who you liking?
Yeah, this is interesting, man. This is the battle of the bad teams. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Magic here. I really am. The Magic have lost 2 in a row, but the Blazers have lost 5 in a row. And Portland, they have like, who they even gonna play out there, man? They just traded, Powell, Covington on Friday, and now Caesar McCollum's gone. Larry Nance, Tony Snell. So what's their depth gonna be at? Little, I don't even think is going to be able to go for this one. Whereas Orlando, they've slightly been the better team over the last 10 games. And I think this is just a matter of taking the better of the worst teams right now. And I do think Orlando will find an opportunity to beat Portland, who obviously right now are playing to just completely blow this thing apart. I think Nurkic's name is going to be next in terms of being dealt. So yeah, look for the Magic to pick up a rare win here.
Yeah, I would honestly be surprised if Nurkic is even going tonight, because you never want to risk an injury so close to the trade deadline when you're blowing everything up. I know they said that they're going to rebuild around Damian Lillard right now, but there's not much to like in terms of the assets that Portland has right now. There's not much that makes me think this team's going to turn around very quickly. And as you mentioned, it's it, Portland's bad, like really bad, and then they lost so many of their pieces. They're gutted.
Yeah.
Like Orlando, they haven't really traded too many pieces yet, if anybody. So I like Orlando. It's again, it could be one of those games where a trade sparks some energy out of your group. Some guys step up to really showcase themselves, but I can't see them beating Orlando tonight. So with the odds so close, I'm taking the Magic to cover on the road.
All right. So I think all but one game we
Yeah.
disagreed on, literally. So we'll see if Mike and I are really, really right or really, really wrong. But nonetheless, it's a busy night in the association. Get your bets in, get your picks in. And thank you so much for watching. This is 3 Point Lines here on the parlay on behalf of myself and Mike. We'll catch you all again in Toronto today, tomorrow. Take care. Thanks for watching and have yourselves a great night.